Good morning, friends, and welcome to this awesome session from Mindful Living. We really appreciate your taking out time and joining us for this session on Sunday morning. This is a clear demonstration of your intention to improve your quality of life. All our sessions in Mindful Living are guaranteed to improve your quality of life, and today's session is going to be no exception. I assure you that this investment of time will definitely be worth your while. The session today is about ego identification. Normally, we understand ego as an inflated sense of self-importance a person has, but today we will see how that means ego means much more than that. And that is what the session today is about. Is any one of you joining is our session for the first time? If you're joining a mindful living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box. Okay, thank you, Ashok. So for the benefit of those who are joining our session for the first time, I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector in senior management roles with leading Indian and multilateral organizations. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the employees in the corporate sector are. And I thought to myself that there is a better way of living, and the message of living consciously needs to be taken to the corporate sector. And with that vision, I started Mindful Living. Our mission is to impact the lives of 1 million working professionals and assist them in leading healthier, happier, and wealthier lives. In the last 5 years, we have conducted more than 300 sessions for leading organizations that include Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, HDFC Life, Kotak Life, EXL, IBM, Swiggy, Schneider, Signify, and many other organizations. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living Community Initiative that was started in April 2020 when the first lockdown happened. Few of my friends reached out to me and requested me to conduct a mindfulness session for them to help them deal with the stress and anxiety that the first lockdown was causing. So over a weekend, 10 of my friends got together and I conducted a session for them. One thing led to the other. And today we have grown to be a community of more than 3,000 people, which connects every weekend to learn and practice about living consciously. In case you would like to be a part of this community, please join using the link that we are sharing in the chat. This is a very safe space for you to learn about living consciously. We have no political or religious agenda. Most of us are working professionals who are committed to improving the quality of our life. The session today will be in two parts. The first part will be about a discussion on ego, which will be very interactive. So please feel free to raise your hand if you have any point or question to ask using the raise hand button in the toolbar. Keep your cameras on. We are a small group, so it's good to look at you while interacting. Very difficult to talk to black tiles. So on that note, let's get started with the presentation on ego, what this truly means and how it can help us in pursuit of excellence, or how it hampers our pursuit of excellence. Like I mentioned earlier, ego is normally understood as the inflated sense of importance that a person has. But what this truly means is the stories that we create about ourselves and about other people to define who we are, who we believe we are. So this answers the question, who am I? So if I have to introduce myself to someone, I'll say I'm Ashish, X years of age. This is my attitude. This is where I live. These are my hobbies, or this is what I am good at, etc., etc. These are merely 5, 6 labels that I have used to describe myself. There are many more. And let's look at these. What are some of these labels? Name, your name, or your more than that, your surname says a lot about you. Age, whether you are a senior citizen, teenager, young adult, whatever, our age is a label that we have. And the hobbies that we have, or the religion, I'm a Hindu, Christian, Muslim, or the marital status, I'm married, single, divorcee, or the kind of education I have had, or the language I speak, I'm a Gujarati, or Bengali, or whatever, the company I work for. So normally my introduction would have been, I'm a VP in XYZ company, living in Gurgaon, etc. Or the economic philosophy, I'm a capitalist, socialist, or my sexual orientation, whether I'm straight, or whatever, different, or the car I drive, or the political party I support, I'm a BJP follower. Now, you may be wondering what's the issue with this is very normal, right? But the fact is, once a lot of these labels we ascribe to ourselves unconsciously. And then that is kind of running our whole life. And these are not all. Are there more, or these are the only ones? You can type in the chat or unmute and speak. The caste I belong to. More, yes. Thank you, Anil. Well, what are some more labels that we put on ourselves? Let's see. I am fair or I am dark. I am black, white, yellow, brown. I am beautiful, ugly. I am thin, fat. I am tall, short. I am an achiever. I am a failure. I am a giver. I am a taker. I am smart, or I am dumb. These are the labels unconsciously or consciously we are putting on ourselves all the time. Yeah, that our status as a parent, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a brother, I'm a sister. All of that keeps playing out in our life. Yeah, I'm a Stephanian, I'm a IITian, I am, and these are the labels we put and we identify ourselves. But look at this, we are always comparing ourselves with other people, and we are building our whole life with an outside in focus. How am I compared to the other people? So if somebody is from an IIT and I am from REC, how good am I going to feel about that? So there is a status, there is a inferiority and superiority which comes out. But imagine if we are the only person on the planet. Will it matter whether I'm fair, dark, fat, thin, or whatever else? We are constantly living in this state of comparing ourselves with other people, living by the expectations of the other people. Will we be smart, tall, handsome, pretty if we are the only person on the planet? And the problem is, we start identifying with these labels. And this could be a empowering proposition, or this could be a disempowering proposition. I'll share with you one story which one CFO, global CFO shared with me. He says when he was in school, his arts teacher was not very happy with the work that he was doing. So this person wanted to grow up to become a doctor, but he didn't choose biology because he thought in biology there are a lot of diagrams to be made, and my teacher in the school used to tell me that I am not good at arts, and how will I be able to do those diagrams and drawings? So he chose commerce instead of being choosing biology and becoming a doctor. And he did very well in his career. It's not that he didn't do well. He went on to become a CFO and then a global CFO, lived in many countries abroad, and had a very successful career. But these are some stories. This is how it plays out in our life. In my own life, as I was mentioning before the start of this session, we moved from Gurgaon to Pune 1 or 2 years back. And during the shifting, I came across my report card. And in that report card, I saw that I used to get very good marks in maths in my school, be at the top of the class. But those marks were not good enough for my father because he was from IIT BHU. So he would always say that you're not doing so well in maths, you're not doing so well in science. And as a result of that, I chose commerce, versus choosing science. And I could have done probably as well, but because I was compared and I was told that I'm not good enough, I chose this. So this is the constant chatter which is going on in our mind, that I am smart or I'm dumb, people like me or not like me. And then we keep creating our stories according to that. And, we keep comparing ourselves. So I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments, and then we will move forward. You could unmute yourself or type in the chat. If there are no more questions, I would like to share a story of how Rajesh, could you elaborate on your question?
Yes, Ashish. Sorry. So yeah, I was just wondering. We live in an aspirational society where we are expected to achieve things. Whether it's getting admission to X school or Y school, or get A job or B job, or
Yeah.
do this, that. So they're always, the society in general is seeking labels all the time. I became a director, I became a VP. So it's an aspirational society which continuously seeks labels. I'm this, I'm a consultant, I'm a researcher, I'm a this, I'm a that. So labels is like part of the fabric, the larger fabric of society that we live in. So how does one reconcile that and put it in perspective so one doesn't necessarily identify one's true self and one as a human being with these labels in such a society? Any comments on that, please?
That's a great question, Rajesh. The issue is not having labels, and that's what we're going to see as we go forward in the session. But the issue is whether those labels, how real those labels are, how meaningful those labels are. And, when we start identifying and living by those labels, we start defining our entire life according to those labels. And when those, see, there is the point is these labels may change. I am a management trainee today. I could become a CEO tomorrow. I could be CEO of XYZ company today, and I could lose my job tomorrow. And that's when, when I'm living the label that I am the CEO of this company, and I'm, my board sacks me. And this happens all the time. I work with so many senior people for good reasons or for bad. The board will decide we don't want the CEO, and they unceremoniously let them go. And then, what happens, because I am living my life as the CEO of that, and that label is taken away, suddenly I have my entire life is ripped apart because I am living my life. Or look at that, look at a wife, army wife, who's living her life as a army wife, and her husband is martyred. Suddenly the label of the wife is gone. Then the label is of a widow. Then how do you live your life? How do you reconcile? So as we go forward, I think your question is brilliant, Rajesh. As we go forward, we will see, are we the labels that we put on ourselves, or are we something beyond that? Let me see. There is a question from Sonali. Yes, brilliant question, Sonali. I hope by the end of this session, you will have your answer. If not, we will we will take up this question. And I'll just like to share a very, a true and very inspiring story of these labels. So this is a true story of Thomas Edison. Some of you may have seen this story in one of my sessions earlier. And we will see in the story, should I play the story and then debrief, or debrief and then play the story?
I think play the story.
Play the story. Okay, so let's look at the story and then we will have a short discussion about that. And this is a 3-minute video. Enjoy as I play it. This is about Thomas Edison.
Thomas, why are you not in school? Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have enough good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself. I'm gonna have you read to me today. So here you go. Remember where we left off? I think we were here. So start from there.
Miss Edison, your son is adult. He is mentally slow and unable to think clearly. We won't let him come to school anymore. Sincerely, Headmaster Jonas Well.
Anyone would like to share what they saw in the video? Yes, Rajiv.
So life unfolds the way you believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Hi,
Hi.
I think his mom showed confidence in him. She didn't let his confidence break.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Your name, please.
Vivek here, sir. Vivek.
Hi, Vivek.
Hi.
Thank you for sharing that. So what was the label that the teacher had given Edison, sorry?
A very negative one.
Negative one, right? He says your son is addled, he's confused, he's slow in thinking. That was the label given by the teacher. And what was the label given by her mom? What did the mom?
Very positive and made him feel like he is exceptional.
Very confident.
Very confident. So her mom says that you are a genius, your school can't take care of you. Your school has said that, we can't teach your son in school because you're so good. So that was the label that was given by her mom. Now, my question to you is, which label was true? Sometimes people come and tell me, believing, yeah, thank you, Vivek. Yeah, the only label, what matters is the labels we choose. Very well said, Vivek. And sometimes people tell me, no, Ashish, that's the reality. Now you tell me, what is the reality in this case? Whether the teacher who believed that he is confused and dumb, is that the reality? Or the mother, when she says, Edison, you are a genius, that's the reality. So people come back and push me and say that, push me back saying that, this is the reality. This is how I am. But who decides what is the reality? It's the labels we choose, and that defines our life, and that defines our reality. The reality is what we are creating by the labels we are choosing. Rajesh?
Yes, I think the important phase in the child's life are the formative years, and how the parents see the child, and obviously or indirectly, if they label the child in a certain way, sometimes the child grows to live that label. So I think affirmations a child gets in the first years of their life, and that stays with them. And that, I think, this is just my view, it could be wrong, I think that is more powerful than any labels that the rest of the world may give. So I think that's the perspective I'm sharing.
Yeah, no, that's very true, Rajesh. The labels could be given by the parents. The labels could be given by the teachers. The labels could be given by our boss. The labels could be given by our colleagues, by our subordinates, whoever, by our spouse, by our children. Like my daughter say, Papa, you're very old fashioned. That's a label. Now, whether I live by that label, how do I decide, do I let others decide the labels for me? And once I recognize those labels, will I live my life according to that? That is the issue, so that is what we're going to examine as we go forward. What are the labels we have and how that is impacting our lives? And once we have become aware about the fact that these are the labels which are running our lives, then what do we do with that? And, these labels create a problem. Everybody out there is a problem. Looking at in the organizational context or in our family context, if I'm an HR guy, the sales guys could be a problem. Or if I'm in sales, the finance guys are a problem. Or if I'm in operations, the IT guys are a problem. So the problem is always out there. If I'm a husband, the problem is with the wife. If I'm a child, the problem is with the parent, so depending on the roles we have, we are always thinking that the problem is out there because I'm so identified with that particular department or the role. Or if I'm a BJP guy, I'll always feel the problem with the Congress guys. And the Congress guys forever will believe that the problem is with the BJP guys. And so on and so forth, or the mindset that I'm superior or I'm inferior. I'm living my life according to these labels. And just look at your life and see in your context, how these labels are playing out. And every time we are choosing a label, also imagine that, we are getting restricted by it, and that may not be true. Like we saw in the case of Edison, that the label the teachers gave was not true. So just become aware about it. And once we start, I'll request everybody to mute themselves, please. And once we start living out our life as per the labels, then, there are issues like fear. So if I'm a VP or SVP or CEO of a company, I will do everything I can to please my shareholders and please my board. And that may not be the best thing for the company, but I'm just doing because I'm operating out of a space of losing my job. And that's a very suboptimal state of mind to do, because that you may not be doing what's best for the company. You are doing something which will just please and get you beyond just another quarter. Or if I identify myself by a car, like I used to own an SUV and that got stolen. So if I identify myself that I drive Mercedes, I'm a Mercedes owner or a BMW owner, and that gets stolen, my identity goes. Or those who are very beautiful, they may feel that as I am growing, especially those who are in performing arts or actors, they may feel that if I grow older, I'll become less beautiful. And, so they fear, because my identity, the label is I'm beautiful. And then I fear losing that label. My identity is I'm a CEO, and then I lose, fear losing that. So these labels instill a sense of fear, and that's a very low energy space to operate out of. Or I may want to control. I am the, so I've seen this play out in so many ways in the organizations. He is my guy, why did you say this to him? So the department head will think that the people in his department are his property. They're not employees of the company, they are his property or her property. And they just try to control. Or if I'm beautiful, then I'll try to do plastic surgery or whatever else, or I'll try and control and suppress my emotions. Or if I'm identified with money, if I'm a millionaire or billionaire, I'm always wanting more, because I'm defined by the money that I have or the house I have. So, this process of labels, when we choose those labels consciously or unconsciously, we become one with those labels. So if my label is millionaire, I'm living my life all the time trying to protect the millions that I have got. Or if I'm beautiful, I'm leading my life, wanting to become more attractive or more successful. And like what happened with the Adani recently, he lost like, I don't know how many, 4 lakh crore rupees in market cap. Do you think he's sitting and weeping? No, because he may not be looking at himself at the third richest person. No? That's not his identity. So these are, or if I may be jealous of my colleague's success because I envy what he's doing or what he's able to achieve. So these are the challenges that happen when we start living our life in accordance with the labels. Or if I may be defensive, if I'm a CEO and my employee is giving me a feedback, I would take it negatively. How could you say this to me? Or if I'm a departmental head, or between husband, wife, or father, look at in your context, how because we are playing that role. So if I am a father, I could tell my daughters, how dare you talk to me like this? Because I am the parent and you are the child. Or I am the CEO, you are the management trainee, or I am the shareholder, you are the CEO. So we become defensive and we don't connect with the issue which is there, but we are operating out of that mind space which is being defined by that. So that was that's the normal way. But there is another way of doing that. But I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments before we move on. Yes, thank you, Rajiv. Beautiful, beautiful person. Thank you for sharing that. So, yes, Rajesh.
Yes, just one observation, comment, if you may call it that. So I'm sure some of us have a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. And there she specifically points out that, there's a tendency amongst a lot of parents to instantly label their children or even teachers or whatever, like he's smart or he's dumb or he's good in math or he's good in science, he's bad in art, all kinds of labels. So what she goes on to say, for those of who do not have this book, she says, don't label the child good, even if he's smart or she's smart. Don't label and praise the label. Instead, praise the efforts that your child makes to achieve something, even if they have given, they've not got the mark that you expected, but if they've given their 100%, don't label them, you did great, or you're smart, or you're dumb, or you didn't do well. Just praise the effort rather than the end result, or the label. So that is just an interesting
Yeah, absolutely.
observation from her book.
Yes, very true, because what she's also talking about is praise the process, rather than the
Yeah.
outcome. And whenever we are operating in an ego state of mind, or driven by the labels, we are always trying to control the outcomes rather than focus on the process. This is exactly what we're saying. Yes, Anjana.
See, a lot of times, I think we just seek an easy way out. So we label people.
Yeah.
Or we just want to put them into that slot, because then, it takes a lot of effort to identify something else or address them in a particular way.
Yeah.
So I would think it's more that we are lazy and others are lazy, and we just want things to be easy. So we just pigeonhole them, and then we apply the program we have.
Yeah, no, Anjana, you have a fair point there, and if we live our life always looking at situation to situation, then it may take so much more bandwidth, and that's may not be a very efficient way to look at things. But the idea is for us to be aware that we are labeling people, and people are labeling us, and that may not be entirely true. So if we are labeling an employee, and I'm sure all of us who have been in the corporate sector would have seen cases where the employees have been labeled wrongly. Look at the sexual harassment cases. The people just one incident is used to paint the character of the entire person. So we are just labeling the person, and how that. How disastrous that could be for the person, for his family, or his or her family. So we need to be very conscious that I'm not saying that we should not label, because labeling can be efficient way also. But we need to be aware that this labeling may be true, may not be true, and we need to be aware. We should question that from time to time.
See, Ashish, what you say is right, but somewhere along the way, right, we haven't been told, or let's say we till, I would say till very recent, we haven't had conversations like this.
Yeah.
So the way the system is, okay, that's why the rules are, right? Because somebody doesn't have the patience to explain things to you. They've made a rule, they've made, if you do this, this will happen. If you don't do this, this whole do's and don'ts is defined because it's too difficult to explain it to each and every person.
Yeah.
So if this explanation was there in terms of, yeah, people can be different, you can temporarily label them, but not a permanent label that it becomes a stigma.
Yeah, we need to be very conscious of that, Anjana. You're very right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anjana. Yes, Rajiv ji.
So this prompts me to share something I learned from Nitya Shanti. It is
Yes.
totally out of the box way of looking at it. He said, you don't meet people. You meet your own impression of them.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah. So beautiful.
In
That is
fact, he
actually-
went to the extent of saying, you don't even meet your own self.
That is very true. Thank you for sharing that, Rajiv ji. Friends, we have a 20-minute mindfulness exercise that we will quickly get into. And there are some comments and questions in the chat. Let's do the mindfulness exercise and then we will come back and attend to the comments. Yeah, thank you, Balaji. So friends, please settle down. Sit if you could do this meditation sitting or lying down. And if you're sitting, please keep your back and neck in a straight line. And close your eyes gently. And focus your attention, entire attention, at the area, at the entrance of your nostrils. Continue to breathe. Keep your neck and back in a straight line. Straight but not stiff. Chin parallel to the ground. Palms resting on your lap, facing upwards. Eyes closed gently. And in case you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you may keep them open in a soft gaze, looking downwards. Today we will do Who Am I meditation. In our lives, we all have multiple roles that we play. Perhaps a wife, a father, a mother, husband, daughter, doctor, engineer, lawyer, janitor. Whatever it is, it can consume us literally. It can consume the space of who we truly are and fill that space up with those roles we identify with and believe in heavily. Continue to breathe. In this mindfulness practice today, we will experience letting go of ego. You may start to realize that who you are is not who you thought you were supposed to be. And that you have a new, simpler purpose. Feel into your identity. How does it feel to play the roles you play in your life? In other words, what does your ego identity feel like? Notice the ways in which it feels good to be you. Notice the ways in which this identity feels limiting. For most of us, we feel limited by our ego identity because it holds us back from becoming that great person that we truly are. This can be hard to let go though. By letting go of our false sense of self or ego, we can direct our ambitions towards more fulfilling goals. Breathe in, breathe out. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself, who am I? Am I the roles I play in the life? Or am I beyond the roles that I play in life? Do I change as a person if my role changes? Or am I changeless? Observe the thoughts that arise. Breathe in, breathe out. Our ego is that voice inside of us that says, I am superior or inferior. I am deserving or undeserving. I need to prove something. People will like me if I achieve something, else I will be a failure. So would you like to ask this question to yourself? Am I sum total of my achievements? Observe the thoughts that arise. Deep within us, there is a presence of consciousness that cannot be named, but can be experienced directly. Know thyself, not through the conceptual mind, but through awareness, being aware of itself. Let everyone take a deep breath through the nose and just let it go through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in deeply and exhale through your mouth. You're just becoming aware of your breathing. I may identify myself with the body, which has a form, but the breath is unseen, but can be felt. Am I what can be seen? Or am I what can be felt? Perhaps some thoughts arise. Just let them arise. Let them go. And return your attention to your breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you continue to breathe, notice the emotions that are there. Emotions are unseen, but can be felt. Perhaps some thoughts arise. Just let them arise. Let them go. And return your attention to your breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Simply notice, feel, and relax your body. Relax your forehead. Relax your shoulders. Relax your entire body. Become aware of your body. Scan your body from head to toe, noticing any tension, tightness. maybe even pain. Simply observing it, feeling it, letting go of the label. Ask yourself, who am I? Am I the body? Am I the mind? Am I the life force? Observe the thoughts that arise. Know yourself as that formless dimension. Feel a sense of bliss come over you. Feel pure, unconditional love. You are part of this universe. You are part of the present. You've become familiar with both the dimensions, with form and the formless. We are here on this planet to evolve and awaken. So we can be in this world, but not of this world. And dance in this world, play our roles, and then lay them down. We are just here together. When we are at work, we play our role. But when we go home, we are no longer that teacher or engineer or doctor, lawyer or janitor. When we see our true selves non-conceptually, we experience that inner happiness, that joy, that peace, that passes all our understanding. Continue to breathe. In a couple of seconds from now, we will be coming to the end of this practice. Consider setting an intention that this meditation practice will benefit you and everyone you will come in contact with. Thank you for practicing with me. You may choose to keep your eyes closed for a couple of seconds more and open them once you are comfortable. Thank you. Anyone would like to share anything? You can unmute yourself. Thank you, Rajiv ji. We have 4 more minutes. So I'll just like to take this time to close our presentation, and then we will take question answer. Those who have questions can stay back. We'll close the session in a couple of minutes from now and then open it up for question answer. So thank you, Shivanjali. So the best thing for us to do is have an inside out focus rather than let the world tell me what is important, how am I decide how I'm going to live my life. I remember having this discussion with my wife once when I asked her, am I successful? You know, I had everything that I wanted, but then I was comparing myself with other people and wondering whether I'm successful or not, because I didn't have any criteria for myself for what success means. So it's important for us to decide what success means to me and then live my life as per that, rather than be constantly driven and pulled by the world. So this is the inside out view. Normally we identify ourselves with the positions that we have, with the position that we have, or how we look, and we put ourselves with what we have, the position we have, and how I look. You know, we become one. We completely identify ourselves with what we have. But the better way is to observe these stories and connect to a self which is beyond these stories. The problem is not having these positions or the labels, but it is when we start believing them and living our lives. So the best part is when we identify that there is something beyond the labels which can change. You know, there is a changeless self which is beyond the labels which are changing all the time. So that is what our session today is about, friends. We will be sharing a feedback form which will take you less than 30 seconds to fill out. So please give us your feedback. Your feedback is very valuable to us. Thank you, Hemlata. Thank you, Anup. Thank you, Gunjan. And while you're filling out the feedback form, the link has been shared in the chat. Please type FD once you have filled out the feedback form, feedback done. And while you are filling out the feedback form, I would like to share that our next session is on 4th of February at 11:11 a.m. 4th of February is World Cancer Day, and our session is being taken by Dr. Nupur Agrawal, who has done a lot of work with cancer patients. And you know, normally when cancer is somebody is diagnosed with cancer, the first reaction is, oh, my life is over. and it's a moment of shock for family members. So how to deal with this diagnosis, how should caregivers behave or believe? These are some of the things we'll be sharing. So stay tuned for this session. If you have not yet joined the Mindful Living community, please scroll up, look at the link that we shared with you, and join the community. The details of the session will be shared in our community WhatsApp groups in the days to come. Thank you, Hemlata. Thank you, Balaji. And friends, I'll request you to share your takeaways from the session today in the Mindful Living WhatsApp groups that you are part of. We'll be sharing the recording by tomorrow once you get the recording. And if you think this is something with this message will help your friends and family whom you care about, please share it with them and share about our weekly sessions with your friends. So on that note, we will bring the session to a close and open it up for question, answers, and comments. There were some. Sonali, is your question answered now, or?
I think to some extent, but I still think I need to now like sit and think and introspect for myself.
Sure, sure. Anything you would like to ask or comment? Any major takeaways for you so far from the session?
So my only thing is that like, in terms of, like the last bit that you said about mindfulness being inside out focus.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just giving an example of supposing like I come to the conclusion that if I have to define success, maybe in a particular aspect of, like, say, profession, and I may measure it based on, say, the amount you earn. I don't know. Like, I mean, it may not, but that may not necessarily be the right thing.
Yeah.
So then how do you determine, because I may think that's important at a given point of time, and then I'll work based on that, or I'll identify with that, and then I'll either not feel good about myself or feel good about myself, based on like I don't know. Then that just means that it keeps changing. So what is really, like, how do you decide what is actually important?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Sonali. See, when it comes to how much you want to earn in your profession, that's a perfectly legitimate way to look at defining your goals. The problem is not deciding the amount or what that amount is. The problem is, once we reach that and we realize, so typically what happens in the annual appraisal cycles is, I got 10%, I'm very happy till the moment I realize my colleague got 15%. And then I start feeling miserable. I got $1 million bonus, but my colleague got like $1 million plus stock options also. So that's where the problem starts happening. So that is what we are meaning by inside out, that you decide for yourself what you want in relation to what will serve you or what will fulfill you. I want this $1 million because this is what I want to do with this money. This is what it means to me. So it's not only what I want, but also why I want that. And that living a life in accordance with that is far more fulfilling rather than just chasing and comparing ourselves with other people. So there is a very interesting story of which Ken Honda shares. Ken Honda has written a book called Happy Money, and he interviewed more than 12,000 billionaires for writing this book. And he says during the process of his research, he was where he met a millionaire who had just become a millionaire, and he thought this person will be very happy, because he's just become a millionaire. And he said when he met him, I asked him, "How are you feeling now?" To his surprise, this person said, "Oh, what's the great deal about becoming a millionaire? I only have a million. Look at my friend who has got 10 millions." So, over a period of time, Ken goes and meets the guy who's got 10 million. And Ken was thinking that this guy would be happy and fulfilled. And when he meets that guy and asks him, "Are you happy, fulfilled, satisfied with what you've got?" This guy is also miserable because he's comparing. He says, "No, what is $10 million? Look at this guy who's got $30 million. My friend has got 30 million. So he goes and meets the guy who's got 30 million. And he says, "What is 30 million? I only have a small jet, two-seater jet. Look at my friend." So every time we can be miserable if we are comparing ourselves. That's the biggest disease I think that we have in our society, which is comparing ourselves. I think somebody had put I think you had put that comment, how do I look at myself if I'm the only person on the planet? So look at yourself, in terms of what you want, how you define yourself. And then everything else will start falling. And this is not about being complacent, being underachiever, but deciding what I want. And for what's the reason I want that? Does that help?
Yeah. I think that second half really makes sense as to why.
Yeah.
Because then it's easier to figure. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali. Yes, Rajesh, you will take the question from Gunjan and then come to you. Yes, Gunjan.
So it's not a question. It's more like I wanted to share something. And it came to my mind because Sonali asked this question. So who are we? Okay, so 2 years back, I attended a inner engineering course by Sadhguru. And he also talks about these labels in his course. And he taught a very powerful meditation where he says, "I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. And what is left behind is me." And you don't know what that is, but when you do that meditation continuously and regularly, something shifts within you, helps you move away from those labels. But I chose to let others identify me by my labels because that's important for me to run my business, to get my work done. But slowly and steadily, I have stopped identifying myself with those labels. So that gives me less grief. It does not take me on guilt trips. And even though I'm not 100% there, I'm 50-60% there. And it does help a lot. So your session was exactly what I had learned there, and it helped as a reminder course, a refresher course for me.
Thank you for sharing that, Gunjan. And that's a very important point you made there, Gunjan, that it's a journey. And asking that question, "Who am I?" Leads to very powerful answers if we continuously keep asking that question. And it's a journey, so it doesn't happen like this. It's not like a switch. You just press and instantly the light is there. In our world, it takes time. Thank you for sharing that, Gunjan. Yes, Rajivji.
I wanted to share something which is coming out of a response to Sonali ji's intrigue. So it is true that there is a spiritual part to our life, and yet we are in the Maya spiritual, the physical world. So let me address it like this. I also do therapy and I do some work in that field. So I have a training. That's why, if you like, you may notice the points I'm trying to make. So the states of our mind are affected by, I will say, 8 factors. One is our career. One is our state of health. One is a state of our relationships. One is the state of our social life. One is a state of our finance. And of course, there is something different from finance, which is the state of our wealth. Because you may have daily money, but you haven't amassed enough to take care of your rainy days. And beyond the rainy days, it's always, I'm saving for my children and generations. So I don't know, it's sort of like endless. So there are two the most important features that affect our state of our mind. And one is the state of love we feel for ourselves and for the world. And lastly, but I'm saying it lastly because it's in people's experience, this comes last. However, this is the most important for part of our well-being state, you know, and that is the state of our spirituality. So if you like, I'll also hold a session for you to making people aware about this, and we can delve more deeper into this. And how to bring the state of our mind into that well-being state. You have to observe where I am on each factor on the scale of 0 to 10, and where I want to be and how I want to work upon it. And you know, you make it into steps, and then things are possible.
Thank you.
The other experience is certainly most important, what Gunjanji said, and but it doesn't come to everybody and all the time. However, it is our innate nature, and we have forgotten that. And at some point or the other, we will be in touch with it, because all the time we will be compelled to realize that the other are all an illusion, and the real is that. And that disturbance is necessary for us to be in touch with our spirituality.
Thank you for sharing that, Rajivji. There is one last question we will take. Amol, that was a question from Amol. He is not there, but if he is listening to the recording, that's for you, Amol, and anybody else who may have that question. He has asked, is there a good ego and is there a bad ego? I won't say good or bad, but I would urge you to look at it in terms of whether those labels are helping you achieve the goals that you have in life, or are they sabotaging your goals? So look at it from that perspective, and anything that is helping you achieve your goals, if you think that label that you are living your life by is smart, and that label is helping you get what you want in life, then it's good. And if you think you are dumb and that label is taking you away from achieving what you want, then it's bad. So that is what it is. Look at it in terms of, rather than good or bad, whether it takes you towards your goals or away from your goals. So on that note, if I hope there are no unanswered questions. If there is, please feel free to connect with us by connecting with us on our communicating on the YouTube link of the video or in the group. Thank you very much for joining us for this session on Sunday morning. Have a wonderful weekend and a great week ahead. Look forward to seeing you at our next session on Saturday at 11 a.m., 4th of February. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.